What's good, everyone? This is your boy DJ's Raw and Cut Truth, give you that raw content that you deservedly need. And let's talk about the Knicks. As you all know, the 2020 NBA draft is approaching. The lottery is on the 25th of August, and the New York Knicks have a young team, but there's still optimism of potential success through the next couple of years. I'm going to tell you why. A few moves they can do that will lead to more wins for the New York Knicks. Scenario 1. The Knicks can acquire Fred VanVleet from the Toronto Raptors. Miniature guard, but he's a pit bull on the court, can score, very aggressive on defense, understands the game of basketball, high IQ, floor general, a leader, and he's just a player that the Knicks can get. They may have to give him the bag a little bit, but it's worth it. You know what you're gonna get from Fred VanVleet. You're gonna get consistency in someone who can get their own basket. He could play on ball, off ball, doesn't matter. He may be barely 6 foot, but he could do a myriad of things. And you pair him with LaMelo Ball, you get LaMelo Ball in the draft, and then you have RJ Barrett play the 3. It will increase RJ's efficiency as well as also being able to guard the 3-man, which he can do. Now, we may nitpick on the RJ Barrett, but if you tell me that the Knicks are going to get Fred VanVleet, LaMelo Ball, there's hope for optimism. Now, instead of RJ Barrett trying to do everything, you have 2 guards who can create with the best of them, as well as keep teams honest with their scoring abilities. As you see in this film, LaMelo has the unique ability to break down a defense, find the weak points, and to attack the basket in different ways. He has an elite floater game. I know a lot of people criticize his three-point shooting, but if you take away the sporadic shots that he had that he did not need to shoot, he would have been more efficient. Elite handle, as you see on this video. Look at that. You can't tell me he's not ready for the NBA with moves like that. His offensive game is very advanced. See, another high floater pick. Increased athleticism, long range, tall, 6'7", 6'8". You can't coach this. And the Knicks being able, like I said, to acquire Fred VanVleet, LaMelo Ball, you team him with RJ Barrett, and then the Knicks have to sign Danilo Gallinari as the stretch floor, and that increase even more shooting, which means when LaMelo comes into the draft and then hopefully he's picked up by the Knicks, you'll have a roster of Fred VanVleet, like I just stated, him, RJ Barrett, Danilo Gallinari, and finalize that with Mitchell Robinson. You'll have Frank Ntilikina coming off the bench, getting a lot of minutes, and he could be a 6-man type of player where even though he's coming off the bench, he's like a joint starter. He's a lead defender, and he's still improving. Couple that with Damian Dotson, he may not even come back. But if they can keep Damian Dotson, that would be, a luxury on that roster. and you fill up the bench with veteran players who understand their role. 3-and-D players. That's all they have to do. Scenario number 2. The Knicks can acquire Zach LaVine, draft LaMelo Ball, and with those 2 moves would create a dynamic backcourt while having RJ Barrett at the wing, slashing, being aggressive and cutting. You pair that with Danilo Gallinari, stretch 4, one of the best bigs who could shoot the 3, and Mitchell Robinson, who I believe will be an all-star next year. I'm booking it. There will be so many lobs, so many offensive sets created for the pick and roll between the guards and Mitchell Robinson. They're gonna be feasting in the East. I guarantee you. You pair that with Tom Thibodeau, and I know Tom Thibodeau gets criticized a lot, fairly so in some instances, but he's an above 500 coach. He knows how to win. He even took the Minnesota Timberwolves to the playoffs in the Western Conference. So if he could do that for them, he could do that for the New York Knicks. Yes, he gives a lot of his starters minutes. But I tell you right now, I'd rather have a coach that gives his starters a bunch of minutes than be like, Alvin Gentry, barely giving starters minutes. But this is not a Pelican video, of course, but I'm just giving an example. I do like the backcourt between LaVine and LaMelo Ball. Zach LaVine is a combo guard that can play either point guard or shooting guard. Very explosive, and he's just touching the surface. He's an ascendant player. And by the New York Knicks potentially being able to get him, they may pick him up at the right time, him entering his prime, which would cash out for the Knickerbockers and potentially make them into a playoff team. I stated this on Twitter and many other social media sites that everyone's saying all these other teams have a bright future, but are not realizing if the Knicks make these simple moves, it's not difficult moves. Now they got to sell the players on the type of roster they can have to acquire Van Fleet or LaVine. But if you explain the veteran coaching moves that they're going to make, the training staff, which is excellent, by the way, the analytics department that they just developed, it all plays a part. The facilities with having a lot of upgrades. Many YouTubers don't point that out when they talk about various teams. That all is important. And the only way I see the Knicks really being a what you call a somebody, a quote unquote somebody in the NBA, is making moves to get veterans, combining that with young talent. And that's the most important part. You need a balance. I don't know why teams that draft number 1 picks, top 5 picks, they get a young player, and instead of spending some money on veterans to speed up the development, they're cheap and they go all the way young, instead of doing it a balance of halfway young, halfway veteran. The moves are there. The Knicks organization, their department of scouting, everyone, they just got to do their part and play this well. Not doing too much, but making aggressive moves for the betterment of the team. And now I'm about to do my final scenario, scenario 3. Now, I know I'm going to get some Pelican fans up in the tizzy, but this is an objective video and I had to be honest. If there's a way that the Knicks can get Brandon Ingram, that would do wonders for them. And you have a roster with LaMelo Ball at point guard. And then you have RJ Barrett at the 2. Brandon Ingram at the 3. Speaking of Brandon Ingram, he's one of the most underrated all-stars this year. Can you imagine if Brandon Ingram was in the East? He'd feast. The only problem with Brandon Ingram is sometimes when he plays against like LeBron or any elite wing, he has a tough time. But in the East, there's not too many wings that are, so to say, that dangerous. No, there's no Kawhi, there's no LeBron, and many others. There's a Jason Tatum, I get that, but still. Brandon Ingram in the Eastern Conference is showtime. Literally is. You can't tell me a roster of LaMelo, RJ, Brandon Ingram, Danilo Gallinari, and Mitchell Robinson can't go deep in the playoffs. I believe they can. If they develop some chemistry, of course. But that roster I just put out there, I think it would go between 41 and 45 wins. So the New York Knicks have a lot of work to do. They just got to trust those who are watching film, who are breaking every player's weaknesses and strengths down, and also having the management like James Dolan not butt in too much. The Knicks are so close. And they deserve to have a great team. Their fans are so loyal. They're passionate. And let's say another team picks up LaMelo in the draft, and there was no way the Knicks can move up. They could always get Killian Hayes, which is not a bad move at all. So we'll see what happens. Cannot wait for the draft. I'm going to make another video today talking about LaMelo Ball and possibly the Knicks or Detroit Pistons. I'm trying to get a panel for that, but be on the lookout. Thank you everyone who support my channel, and know that you all are appreciated. Peace and blessings to you all.